Hi, I'm here. Oh, there are people out there. Usually there's comments in the chat before we go up, and there were none. Um, I do have space. I had 4 people write in questions. I'll be reading them. If you have a question, please note post questions in uppercase. I'm doing this all on my own. So watching the comments and the uppercase and stuff's really, it makes it so much easier if you put your questions in bold. So is everybody having a lovely day? It's almost August. That doesn't seem really possible, but it is, and I know it is because I'm working on some shows and they're doing August, and I'm like, oh my God. Um, Driving and listening, Gene. Good. Um, Hi, Dr. Gale. So people are starting to come in, and I know at least 60 of you saw the notice. So, but I think a lot of people kind of know 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time is when I run a show every week. Anyway, let's go look at my questions. Hello, Angla. Okay, this one's a good garden question. Um, Sarah Broyles Back 40 Studios wants to know if I'm moving before Christmas, if she's moving before Christmas of 2024. And we'll look at that. We'll look at it in the garden because it's a timing question. Um, for those of you who are new to the garden or don't really choose to remember everything I say about the garden, I'm going to straighten it up. The garden can do time, and the way I'm going to take your question out of the way because I can't see the garden. When you lay your garden out, you always put the north to the north. So from where I live, north is basically that way. And you, so if I were to set my garden up in another house, all the pieces wouldn't be where I think they are right now. They'd be moved because north would be a different direction. But to figure out the seasons, this is spring. It's the one furthest from you, wherever you're sitting, irregardless of what's in the middle here. That for you, if you're a reader, is spring. This is summer. This is fall, and this is winter. And so we're going to look for Sarah about what Sarah's making a move. When is that move going to happen? Yeah, I think it's clearly in the winter. You've got more stones there, and you have the stones are in restate and past, and it's your body and your clarity. So that's where you're going to get fixed. You've been plotting it though. You found this is fall. I'm sorry. You're going to be definitely where you want to do in winter. There's the true when the grounding stone lands in true. It says you're seeing things very clearly. So your plans are being very well made. And it says that you've started looking this summer. You've got some ideas. This would be about the time you'd be signing a lease to get ready to move there. Anyway, so I think the stones, even if I don't read what they mean in those spaces, it's clearly telling me in time it'll be this winter. And it's really an idea that started last spring, this summer. Yeah. Um, and you just had to be patient because you weren't ready to make the decision about selecting the place to move to. So that's what happened. But anyway, the clues here are this is spring, summer, winter, fall. And her stones fall primarily in summer. And she's got her grounding stone in true, which means that's the spot it's going to hit. Will be in the winter and Christmas of 2024. So yeah, this shows you're going to be moved. This, as you know, we go from fall to winter right before Christmas. So yeah, but by the time Christmas is over, you're going to be happily settled in. So I hope that helps. Maybe give you a better sense of the time about it. Okay. Ronnie, hello. Thanks for taking questions. I'm thinking about getting a weekend side job. Does it look favorable for that? I'll catch this. Yeah, we've been through a whole lot with her about looking for a job, and we saw she was going to get a job. Let's see. I think if you get a weekend side job, I don't know why you're getting it, except you need money. I mean, other than the obvious, but let's see. How long will you stay in the weekend side job? I think it's real attractive to you right now because your spirit's in air and you're trying to accumulate some stuff around you with that, with the amethyst being in air. Um, and right now, though, you're working on your new job, you're getting some clarity out of that. So that's really helped settle you down. Glad to see you got it. And you could stay with it through the winter if you want. But some changes are coming around you, and that's going to help you make your mind up about sticking with it or not. Physical changes are really happening around you now. This is the most interesting stone on here, and that is the mental stone in water. And when you see the mental stone in water, the definition of that stone is let go of limitations. So, and you also got the grounding stone, weirdly enough, in the same place it was yesterday, the last time. And that said, you're seeing things clearly. But it's really, you need to let go of limitations. So you need to, if you do this, this shows you could be very successful at it, and you could carry it all the way through into the spring. But you need to decide how much time you want to spend on it, and you're going to have some changes happening around you. So because you have this stone here, this says let go of limitations. You may think I have to earn more money because, and you may find out through your new job there is more money than you thought was there. So this says you can actually go either way, but it's not an unrealistic thing to think that you could stay in this part-time position for a while until you get settled in your new job. And I know when you've been unemployed for a while, it's really hard to trust whether a full paycheck's going to be there for a while. And also until after the election, I think there's a lot of economic things around all of us that won't be settled. And Mimi, we'll keep it on the Mimi built the grid I sort of suggested you might want to try. And I don't know if she built the infinity grid, but this is the one I showed you. It's a real simple grid form. And you can draw a figure eight any way you want it. And what I showed to do was for the Lion's Gate, since it's an eternal movement of our actions. So what I had suggested was thinking about chakras and what you could put on the eternity grid. And so what I decided to put in the middle today, it's called a writing stone, or an Asian writing stone. Those little white lines that you can see on the stone, those go actually into the stone. When the crystal forms, it forms quickly, and the black and the white form separately. And I like to use them. Before COVID, I had a good source of writing stones, and I would put them on a grid like a signature because they look like brush painting writing. And then for your other stones, you can figure out what you want to put on it. I've got some obsidian. That's black obsidian. And then I have some green obsidian who looks like it's just like a bottle, because obsidian is made in the volcanoes and it happens so quickly. It cools so quickly. The stone doesn't have time to crystallize. I have a light blue obsidian. I have a clear obsidian. Obviously, a yellow. That one's yellow. Yeah. I don't know if you can. Yeah, maybe it looks a little more yellow on the thing, but it's yellow obsidian. And then have a dark blue obsidian. And then have a little desert rose. And I just pulled them out because I wanted to put 3 on each side. So what I do is if I was thinking about um, making a balance on a eternity grid, then I might balance it out with this. This is obsidian, and when you work with it, and it's like in this form, and it's kind of skinny and thick, and these they used to use the edges of this as surgical instruments. It's really sharp. So I've been with this stone, and I know it doesn't have any part that's going to cut me, but you have to figure that out. And then I put a little desert rose just because I wanted something from the ground. And that's how fast you can put together a little grid. And for me, this is daylight and this is darkness. And we're at that transition point with the Lion's Gate where we have to decide, where we want to go. And if you run your finger around it or you put your hand over it, you can feel if you concentrate, feel the energy. And then you can decide, we're on this path, and what kind of positive changes am I bringing into my life? So, and if you wanted a more elaborate grid form, I Googled some today. I was going to try to pull some images off to show you, but since I don't know what your ability to print is, as I told you last time, you can go online and just Google crystal grid forms, and there's a lot of them online free. So I'm not sending you off to something you should have to pay a lot of money for. There are also some books you can get through Etsy that are pages. So if you don't have a printer, you might be able to find something on there to make, and you might want to make a more elaborate grid for yourself. This is a grid form from a grid book. You see there's a lot more points. And you can see how clearly I thought this out. Okay. You could build on this grid. You could build with the same stones I had because I had 7, and you could put the center stone in the center. Or no, I'm going to put this one. I have a bigger stone. I'll put a bigger stone in the center. And that is a beryl stone. It's one of the colored stones, but it's in a very imperfect state. It would not be one they could cut to make into crystals. And then you just pick if you want 6 or 7, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you can see all the numbers on this. You could pick out 12 points, you could pick out 8 points, you could pick out 4 points, whatever you wanted to do. And if you understand numerology, you know that 3 is for change. So if I made it this way, with just those, then I'd be seeking a trip through the Lion's Gate, seeking change, seeking new partners and a new way to balance. If you want it, you could also do it this way. If you wanted change, you could use 5 stones around it. 5 is the number of change. And you just lay them out till they please you and you're happy with it and it says what you want it to do. And and 6 is balance and happy, home, and harmony, which is why my instincts were heading to that direction. 7 is spiritual seeking and power. And that's a quick version of it. And you say, I want to grow spiritually. Well, you place 7 stones on there. If you wanted to, for money and power and to coalesce the power you have around you, you'd put 8 stones around there. And if you wanted to say, I want to complete the cycle I'm in, you put 9 stones, because 9 is the number of completion. And I said that all so quickly, everybody's going, I'll never remember. Google numerology. You don't have to remember. It works that way. So let me see how many comments we got. Okay, guys, you have to give me a second because I can't read while I'm not looking at the screen. So I'm going to go star some stuff. Okay. Okay. If someone wants career reading, a lot of you are asking about VPs. I'll do that at the very end if I run out of questions. To tell you the truth, she has such a wealth of people to pick to be her VP. It really ends up having to be who balances with her. And because I don't know, I've never actually physically met her. I don't know, I think she'll make a very good choice, but they will be vetted. They will not be people that people will be naming the next week homosexuals because they screw around with couches. And I'm really trying to mellow myself out because I really want to go into 8-8 Lionsgate with all the energies we have pulling on us. And it helps me if you put these questions in caps, guys. It also helps me read them. Okay. Gino, I'll cover your question privately with you about Frank and Addie. She's asking if my guides can see something for her. She's got great guides. I don't know why she's bugging mine. Mine have enough trouble with me. Okay. Oops. Gotta remember what I'm doing here. I got some interesting news today. Sean, that you've been watching, it's Sean Briscoe that does political consulting. He's packing his bags today. We thought he was going to St. Louis, and now he's going to Wisconsin on a 12-week project. So he's going to be up by Scott. I said, I'll let Scott know. Let my friend Pam know who lives up there. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Can you, Divine Being, can I please have a career reading? Are there any changes coming up? So we're going to read those in the garden. And okay. Your question is, can I please have a career reading? Okay. If anything significant falls down here, I'll cut off the questions so that we can see what they mean. We're asking for Divine Being, career changes coming. Okay. Ooh. Well, we're going to have to hide your question. And we're going to start with, you're making me work, girl. When a stone falls in the middle of a bunch of signs, you have to read all the definitions of them and tie them together. And the center of the garden is really the heart of our being. It's our earth, fire, water, and air that sustain us. It's our most basic energies. And so you need to ground your thought, embody your past. Physical changes are coming, and grounding helps you. Okay, so now we're going to look at this. Now the second stone we're going to look at is your clarity, which is in your heart. And I had a student once when I was first teaching the garden, and her her guides told her several things, but one of them was, if there's a stone in the heart, you have to read that first. And it's clarity. And wisdom comes through your clarity of emotions. And you had a teeny bit off in false. And right now you think something might be coming, but you can't really feel it. You're a little ambivalent. But actually where you are it's very protective for you as far as your emotions go. Now we're going to go to your mind, which is in the path forward. And your mind is open right now and you're really watching for the signs. So I have a really strong feeling from those 3 stones that you're aware. It's like that anticipation. You know something's coming, but you can't quite see it. You can't quite look around the corner to find it. But whatever it is, it's going to be great because you've got your grounding is in your crown chakra. You will when it hits you, you're going to know it's what you're supposed to be doing. You're going to be able to move forward with everything's just going to become really clear to you. You're going to see, oh, that's why I got put off on that assignment, or that's why I learned how to do this. All of your skills are going to be called forth to work, and you're going to really like it. And then you've got your spirit. And one of my most fun parts of the garden, your spirit's in go for it. And it means when this hits you, and it will hit you, it's going to hit you in fall. By fall, it's going to be clear to you is exactly what's going on. And this is your spirit's going to be totally aligned with the ideas. So I think you're in the middle of this shift right now, and you're kind of seeing it. You can feel it coming, but it's really going to hit you in the fall. And it's going to be just wonderful. You have no, I mean, when you look at cards, sometimes, oh, that's a good card. That's kind of a bad card. But Divine Being, you have some great stones in that reading. I can tell you, I've read the garden longer than anybody else because I created it. But I rarely do I see that much positivity all spread out throughout the board. Should I keep my dragon grid or should I make a new one for Lionscape? Which would be most beneficial for me to come through the rest of the year? I'm going to throw, weirdly enough, we're talking about stones, but I'm going to throw cards on this. It's you can have more than one grid. I mean, I realize there's eventually a space challenge to that, but you can have more than one. And if the one you have seems to be working okay, I can't see why someone would want to change. But we're gonna lay out some. These are really pretty cards. I like these cards. These are Marquetti's. It's the most expensive deck of cards I ever bought, but I'm glad I got them. I really like them. And they're made out of paper and fabric, kind of, so they don't wear out like paper decks do. I'm going to lay 2 lines. The first line is going to be for your dragon grid, keeping your dragon grid. Okay. And building a grid for the end of the year. I think you need to build a grid for the end of the year, and I'll tell you why. This is great. You got the Ace of Swords and the Four of Wands, which helps your new home. You're in a better frame of mind when you're doing it this time. You've gotten past some of the seeking recognition, and the Nine of Cups. Your thing is about having people really see you and honor you for what you do. Would be part of the energy behind the new grid. But the old grid, it was when you're seeking balance, but you felt very tied. That's the Eight of Swords. You felt very, very tied and bound up. And it did relieve the anxiety, and it got you past it, and it kind of pushed you at your button gear. So you picked the new cup to go through. But it came out of a time when you were very, very confused and bedeviled. And so if you build a new grid, you're going to it's going to be all to the best, because you're going to be able to turn these two cups around. Just like you got out of the imbalance, you went changed from that. You can get to being asked for what you want and seeking your own recognition without having to ask other people. So I would say, looking at that, get your stones out, girl. And Madhu, next 3 months. Okay, we're going to throw it in the garden. What's Madhu's next 3 months look like? Oh, you're working on real fundamentals. You almost created the fundamental as above, so below kind of prayer chain. But we're going to start in the where you should be going for it, and it's in clarity. Move now on your intuitions. That's what's really going to help you. You need to quit. You need to embody the best parts of your past that you've had. Your mind is an earth, and you've got some final thoughts coming towards you right now. You've got some decisions to make, but they're going to be pleasant ones, because the way you think about it's going to be all important. Your grounding stone is between the earth, which is more is going to be brought forward. That goes along with these. It's something's coming. It's just about to break. And air. Mental, it's your mind. I know what you do for a living. It's your mind that's how you survive and what you do, and you're going to do it well. But you got your spirit is in water. And actually, very shortly, it's not going to completely, because you still got this in air a bit. Spirit's transforming your thinking, but you're going through a real time of transmutation, and it's almost completed. When this stone is completely in water, it's completed. So your next 3 months are going to be very enlightening. They're going to be based on you embodying the best from your past instead of looking back at the worst. And you're going to need to just move forward, because the object of what you want is out there. It's out there right now. Okay, and for the next question. And Sarah said her garden reading, I've been feeling a move coming, and I just need to decide where. Yeah, that's what your reading said. You got to figure it out. You're going to figure it out by the end of summer. Okay. Hello, Nancy Jean. May I have some advice going forward into the near future? My PhD project is engineering is kicking in, and I'm hoping it will work out. Okay, let's see, Gabriel. Gabriel's project. Oh, yeah, you got it. You got a stone in the tree of life, and there's really not a much stronger place. It said what it's warning you is you need to learn a lesson of harmony. Don't work at it so hard. Don't get so intense in it that you don't seek any harmony in your life, because that's where grounding can go awry in the tree of life. And you can fool yourself. It's fool's gold. You can almost fool yourself saying, well, I'm doing this and this and this, and it really, really is great. Instead, you need to see what works and what works in harmony. Don't push. Don't push. The answers are there. Your clarity. Your ideas are really great. That's all going to roll together. And it's in water. You have all the clarity you need. When you finish this, you're going to have several different paths you can work on at the same time that could benefit you. Your body is in fire, which means this is another embodying your past means going back and pulling out all the best stuff that's been going on in your past and bringing it forward for this project. And your mind is in the path forward. Your mind is open and you need to watch for the signs, because you're really finally, this is a fruition of so much of what you've worked for. And your spirit's also on earth, and earth is where things grow from in the garden. Water's where they move out. That's how the energy moves away from us. Air is our thinking, and fire is our ancestors and our past. And your spirit is very clearly in air. And as long as you follow your spirit and follow that, it will transform your thinking and move you in the right way. So that all that says to me is everything looks like it's going to work out well. Okay. Another move question. And you do know that this Lion's Gate and all the energy that's moving around us is telling us to move. So, all y'all who are moving, I'm just saying. Minnie G, I've been receiving messages to move to Minnesota for family support. Do you see that in the near future? Minnie G. Yeah, I think it looks good. We're in the summer, and this all started coming up in the spring. And by fall, you're going to be totally into the move. But don't become too tied to the false energy of the past with your family. Make sure that's what's holding you back. Either you have really good memories of them helping out, or you know that they bait and switch. They start and they stop. And I got that kind of a feeling about this. But your path forward is, I'm going to have to eliminate your statement. Your path forward is clearly your spirit stone, your amethyst is clearly in the path forward. And when it's sitting there, it says, balance your energy. Figure out, that's what I was seeing over here. You need to figure out which way is going to work out best for you, if the family support is going to really be there. And you've got an air, you've got your grounding. Yeah, this is all saying you've got to really think about it, girl. And it's not saying it's bad. It's just you need to be sure what you're walking into, because your clarity comes in the future. And this is your good stone. This says ideas that you're working with right now will flourish and they'll move forward, and that you have a pretty good grasp about which thoughts you need to handle in this. But your body's in true. And when your body lands in true, that means yes. So what this is saying is, yes, you can go do this, move your family for support. You need to work out in your own mind how support's been handled and given, and the give and take of it. But all these stones are positive. They're all, and with that one being in true, that's an absolute yes. So I'd say, Minnie, go pack your bags. And I'm going to show this item. It's for entertainment purposes only. If you live in Wisconsin, vote for Rebecca Cook, who is in Congress, for Congress. That's right. Wisconsin has a primary still. I can't keep all those things straight in my head. Yeah. Sean did a video this morning on his channel showing he was in the dudes conversation last night. He's going to be in a Unitarian Universalist meeting tonight, a big one across the country, while he's packing his bags to go to Wisconsin. And Sharon has very sweetly put Sean's what his YouTube channel is called. Yeah, let's see. Okay. May I please have a general reading? I'm still at a crossroad when it comes to my education, and why can't I stay focused on one career? Thank you. Okay. I'm going to do a 10 a 10 card spread for that because you're asking for a lot of information there, Jen. And I have the time to do it because unless there's 4,000 questions beyond here, um, we have the time. So we're going to do Celtic Cross, which will be familiar. People lay Celtic crosses out. They leave the crossy part out. And I'm going to have to kill your question. I can see it where I am. So. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, it's a card of seeking information. You're trying to find something you really love to do. Okay. What I see at the base of your question is you keep looking for a teacher that you feel can guide you and inspire you into a new, you just haven't found the thing that really turns you on. But you're seeking that person with all your heart, looking for that. I think you invested some time and energy in following a male teacher and he ended up being disappointed. And in your far past, you really want to plant a good crop. You want to plant something that's going to be beneficial to you. And so that's where you are today. Can't do too much about those cards. Actually, they're not bad cards. It means you got realistic about the King of Swords. And I also have a feeling with him being where he is, let me see. Yeah. Um, you were not raised in a family that traded to you being adventurous and trying new things. So it's like you pick a path and you stay on it, whether it's good or not. And that image is not serving you well now. You need to learn to be flexible. You think outside the box, and that's good because in education today, if you just read the books and do what the books say, you're not going to have any original thought. You need a space where your own intuition can come in. And you have met um, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed teacher that seems to have a lot of compassion about things, or you've seen them teach and you think they may know what they're talking about, but you're just not sure about them yet. But you are about to get a big sign. So this is what it's telling you to listen to your intuition. These three negative kings on their heads, they're not negative kings. It just means for your question, they don't have the answer. You have to go with your own intuition. You have to go with your own divine logic to get there. And that, to some people, it looks like you always want to be in control. And it's really couldn't be further from the truth. You're just trying to figure out how to fit in other energies with your energies. And I hate to tell you, kiddo, I don't get a time card on it, but um, you're way too judgmental on yourself. You need to quit being your own worst enemy. It's like the drawing I put on the thumbnail for this, where the heart's handing flowers to the brain and saying, be nice to yourself. You need to let go of the fact that you just can't find one way. I went to college to start in theater and I ended up finishing my education in broadcast film. And through both of those procedures, I learned so much about how to deal with things and how to edit and how to put ideas together, all of which I use to this day. But I was in the late 60s, early 70s, and my parents had agreed to pay for my college education. And they used to get grade cards, when they sent, because at the time they sent your scores and everything back to your parents. Well, plus I wasn't 21 yet. But I was taking courses in theater like combat. And my father was saying to me, all the rest of the country doesn't want to be in combat. They don't want to be in Vietnam. How come you're taking a course called combat? It's a little hard to explain to your parents who did traditional things like medicine and stuff. They never understood my curriculum. You're a little like that. You're a little bit of an outlier. But this one, any card out here that goes beyond this point, you can turn. And you can turn that judgment and quit being so hard on yourself because I can't find something that's exactly me. Nothing is going to ever be exactly you. You just need to figure out how to get the best parts, how to turn these people around and get the best parts of their knowledge that they can. And then maybe not feeling like you have to control everything, listening to your own intuition and following through on what you're seeing intuitively. That might help. I hope that helps. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is for Tammy. So your next grid should be come into your own power. Accept your own power. You've got your own power. You just don't accept it. It's a little like what we just saw here. You don't listen to your intuition, and I'm not saying be a taker, but if somebody doesn't have all the answers, they don't have all the answers, but they may have part of the answers. Okay, let's see. All right. I want to see if I need any more than I can. Any message for me? Okay, I'm going to lay 5 cards to try to see what I can see. No, actually, I'm not. You want a message? I'm going to get you a message from Archangel Michael. In theory, I will have the 8/8 Lionsgate with Dorothy Morgan and Danny done, and I think we're going to tape it on the 2nd. That may be a shock to Danny. He just got back from his trip, but Dorothy and I kept moving along. So it's going to be not a live show. It will not be a show where you can ask questions. It's going to be a taped show that running off all 3 channels. So let's see. Okay, your message for you today is to increase your challenge, increase your knowledge. Yeah, we're into school and education. Yeah, schools do start today here in Texas, or tomorrow. Increase your knowledge. Education brings opportunities. Take a course, pick up a book, find a mentor to teach you what you need to know. And I can give you a little more detail on that. This is Radley Valentine's deck. I really like it. I think it's very good. And when I've read from it, it seemed very insightful. You've come into a time of your life when you need to increase your knowledge. This may be related to your career aspirations or your spiritual growth or just your personal desire to explore some new passions for fun. The pursuit of all forms of knowing for any reason is always worthwhile. You might start your education through extensive reading and research by taking video seminars or live courses or even more, going to work by a school full or part-time. Consider private groups and social media when you can to meet like-minded experts on their topics and interests. But be sure to make it enjoyable. Do something you want to do. Don't do, Oh my God, I need to deal with the dark side of my soul. Go find some light. The dark side will take care of itself. If you've ever been called upon to mentor, um, ask me and I will be happy to help. I can search. If you feel being called on to be a mentor, that's another great way to learn. And I can tell you that, uh, Kate, the fastest way to learn something is having to explain it to somebody else. But find similar paths like that are crossing into your life. So if you want to say the message for you is you need to find some, you're being called to find some new passions of knowledge for your life. So, thank you, Mad Who. I don't talk about it much, guys, but I do kind of get my mad money for my life from this channel. And I recently have not been doing that many readings. I think people have been on vacation. I haven't I've just finished a grid, the one you saw me build. But if you've thought about getting a grid, you want to think about it a little harder, I'm here to do that. I also do sell the gardens and I teach people how to read in the gardens. But I want to thank you, all the people who support me all the time. It so helps when you show up and support me here during my show. But I really would like to remind you, and I have a PayPal account in Venmo. Okay, let's see. There, let's show us a reading for the coming month. Yeah, it's coming. I'm getting my hands together. There. I get questions from people. They see readers that shuffle and shuffle and shuffle the cards. I don't do that because when I worked at table, I'd be exhausted by the end of the night if I did it that much. So I made a deal with my guides. Just arrange the cards. I'll do 3 good shuffles and figure out where they're supposed to be. It seems to work. You're getting in your own way, girl. Okay. You've got this deck has an extra card in the major arcana in each suit. It's the Palace of Wands means that says that this whole question is directed about what are you thinking about doing? I'm going to hide your question. And it's covered by the moon, and the moon can work one of 2 ways that can help or hurt you. And I think right now, from the other cards that are around here, you are going great guns. You were feeling ready to battle, and then something happened. And right now, you're trying to let go of the grief and pain from what happened back here. You're not out of it yet. As a matter of fact, you're pretty much dwelling in it. As I've told you, any cards that happen in the future, you can turn that guy and get him the hell out of here. It has to do with your children and family, or children you care about and family. And you're really wondering right now if you're investing in your life in the best ways. Those questions are going to come up for you a lot in the next month. And at the end, you have to not let it set you off temperament. You can turn your temperance around and find balance in the middle of all this. But this has to do with things you've endeavored to do in your life, and you have 2 options. You can either dwell in it in the moon and learn about it, or you can turn it on yourself and become destructive with it you've actually sort of made the decision to go with the glasses that are full instead of crying over what's been lost. But you're about to run into that old devil that pushes you backwards. So I would just tell you, if you really want to take care of him, get him off the board. And I'd worry about these people are supportive to you. They understand you, and you can have a good time in this next bit of time. But you need to quit worrying about, have I put my money in right? Have I planted the right crop? Just go with what's showing up and live with it, and you'll be fine. This is a really hopeful card because it's reversed, and it means that you're not crying over spilt milk. There was a time when whatever's been going on around you would have paralyzed you and stopped you from moving. And you're not letting that happen this time, which is a good thing. Okay. Thank you, Jen. Really appreciate it. And Kate says, yes, she feels stuck. As we all do, till we decide to unstick ourselves. We're the only ones who can. People are saying they're hitting the like button. Thank you. That helps me enormously. I hear YouTube's doing weird things. I'm always the last to know. But I'm not finding them doing anything to me except there's just a lot of competition this time of year. Okay. I'm going to try to figure this one out, Angela. I'm not sure I can. Um, were the golden stones 8 pieces? Which side, left or right, are they placed? Angela, you rarely make me speechless. I have no idea what you're talking about. If you could type it quickly, I'll give it a shot. Okay, this makes sense with Angela. You've got time, write it because I'm going to answer this lady's question. Um, I'm ready to move on. I need to find a job. You have the ability to find the job. You just need to be so sure that job's just out there and that you have the skills and abilities to go find it and work on it. I don't know what I can tell you about being afraid of friends, but I have a feeling that 5 of Cups came from betrayal. But you have to get that devil of I can't meet people out of your head because that's not going to help you find a job. Oh, you're talking about my Chinese stones. You can put them, traditionally, they say to put them to the left of the door, but if your door doesn't open that way or there's no left to your door, you can put the gold stones to the right. I guess I should do a show about that. I have a thing I do where you just find some river stones, some decent sized stones. Not as big as this and not as small as that. But you can find them. Well, if you have a neighbor who's a gardener and they don't want you pull stuff out of their gardens, you can pull it out of their gardens, and you just get gold paint at the craft store, and you paint them with the gold, and you let them dry so they're hard, so they look like little gold nuggets, and you stack them. You stack 8 of them, 8 being the number for prosperity. 8 stones outside your door, and it tells the universe that you're ready to have prosperity come in. I have a friend who does the 9 candles on her own in her store every time her revenue starts dropping, and it seems to help. And she also does the 8 stones. She put them outside her house. When she moved, she said, first thing I picked up to move was those stones. Oh, I hope I'm calming. I mean, there's been enough crazy in the world in the last week and a half. Good crazy, but you know what? It's not nearly, have you noticed it's not nearly exhausting as bad crazy? Now, about VPs, because I've got about 5 minutes left. And I had several of you asking me political questions. See if I can find them. Let's see. Okay. Will Pete Buttigieg? No. And he has basically explained why. And he would be so much better for her to keep him as Secretary of State. The man speaks 6 languages. He's got a brilliant mind. He's incredible on his feet. And we're going to need somebody to go out there and continue to undo what the Orange Menace started with Putin and their authoritarian buddies. Who's most likely to be VP? I don't know. I talked with a friend who was on the white dudes call because it didn't seem appropriate for me to show up to the white dudes call. And he'd never seen Waltz before. And he said, that guy is dynamic at speaking to the people we need to speak to in the swing states. You can tell he grew up came out of the unions, and all that. And I've heard him make some statements, and he's good at punching back to Trump and Vance as anybody. But of course, it's like you almost have to. I pulled my shoulder out trying to reach down to punch at those two, but I think Waltz has a good shot at it. Cooper pulled himself last night. I don't, sometimes when people look down the gun of it, their wife says, no, I don't want that much publicity. I don't know what his family life is like. Sometimes people have kids at an age where they don't really want to expose them to that world. Let's see, I had one other about it. Well, that's it, guys. That's all the wit and wisdom that I have left. And I hope I helped answer from some of the feedback I got. I helped answer your questions, or at least I wasn't too far from your energy. Just remember that right now, we've just gone through an incredible period of letting go of a lot of thoughts we always thought we had, letting go of a lot of preconceived notions we've always had. And we're going in, and there's, the long term is that things going away, they don't go away quickly. I mean, not nearly quickly enough. And then poof, they're gone. And poof, you're in another world. And that can happen. And those worlds are our choices. Someday I'll spend several hours discussing quantum mechanics. And okay, in answer to this question, please ask Gaddy and Frank, who are my guides, what is the last emotional issue piece that it wants me to complete by August? There's never a last piece. Let me tell you, all the times I thought, whoa, that's done. I don't need to deal with that anymore. And turned a corner, and there it was again. So we need to talk about that one privately, Jean, because that's going to take some energy. And other than that, thank you all for coming, and thank you all for participating, and thank you all for your lovely questions. And now I get to clean my desk up again, which I've been trying to do desperately. And like I said, I'm going to tape with Danny and Dorothy Morgan on the 2nd. And so I imagine it'll be the 3rd or maybe on Saturday. But I'll do a big woo-ha announcement about it. I have a really cool lion's head to put on it. So when you see that one come through, pay attention to that one. Be notified. And I want to thank everybody who came, and hope to see y'all later. Bye.